It was a dark night. The forest was eerily quiet, with only the occasional rustle of leaves breaking the silence. The trees stood tall and menacing, their branches casting long twisted shadows on the ground. The moon hid behind the clouds, casting an even darker shadow over the forest. The night seemed endless, and the air was thick with anticipation.
Slyly, a sly fox crept through the forest. His eyes glinted with cunning as he moved silently between the trees, his ears perked up, listening for any sign of danger or opportunity.
He was hungry and thirsty. Days had passed since he last had a decent meal or a sip of water. His stomach growled and his throat felt parched. He searched and searched for food and water. Every nook and cranny of the forest floor was explored, but to no avail. The forest seemed to be devoid of any sustenance.
Determined, the fox walked for a long time. He was very tired, his legs felt heavy and his body ached, but he refused to give up. He knew he had to keep moving.
Suddenly he tumbled into a hole. The ground beneath him gave way and he found himself falling, his heart racing with fear. The fox had fallen into an old, abandoned well. The walls were steep and slippery, and the darkness was overwhelming. He looked up, realizing he was trapped with no easy way out. The well was deep and dark. It seemed like an endless pit, with walls that were cold and damp. The air was thick and heavy, making it hard to breathe. The fox tried to jump out. He gathered all his strength and leaped as high as he could, hoping to reach the top. But the walls were too high. He was trapped. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't get a grip on the slippery stones.
Desperate, he cried out for help, his voice echoing off the walls of the well. "Is anyone there? Please help me," he shouted, hoping someone would hear his desperate pleas. But no one could hear him. The forest above was silent, with no signs of life. The only sound was the faint rustling of leaves in the wind. The fox paced back and forth. He was scared. His heart raced as he thought about being stuck in the well forever. He needed to stay calm and think of a plan. He needed to find a way out of the well. He examined the walls closely, looking for any cracks or ledges that he could use to climb out. He looked up at the small circle of sky above. It seemed so far away, but it was his only hope. He had to find a way to reach it.
Just then, he heard a sound. Bah! A goat wandered by the well. He was thirsty and looking for water. The goat heard a sound coming from the well. He peered over the edge.
Curious. Hello, who is down there?
The fox saw his chance to escape. He thought quickly and formed a plan.
Pleading, "Help me! Help me! I'm stuck down here and I can't get out. The water down here is so refreshing and cool. It's the best water I've ever tasted. You should come down and try it. It's so much better than the water up there."
The goat believed the fox without a second thought. He trusted the fox's words completely. He was so thirsty that he forgot to be careful. All he could think about was quenching his thirst.
Eagerly. Without thinking, the goat jumped right into the well. He was so eager to drink the water. He landed on the fox's back with a splash, not realizing the trouble he was in.
Chuckling, "Look before you leap. You should always think before you act."
The fox chuckled as he used the goat's back to jump out of the well. He had tricked the goat. He disappeared into the night, leaving the goat trapped behind. The goat realized too late that he should have been more cautious.